Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Dan, and of course, you're tuning into Collector's Digest. Hey guys, so welcome back. I feel as Collector's Digest, it is my obligation, my duty to cover all spectrums of the collecting community, if you will. That rhymed. I collect my Marvel Legends. I got my Mezco figures. I'm an odd collector. I like everything. I appreciate everything for what it is, and I take action figures really to heart as art, and that rhyme too. Now, I love my custom kit bashed Michael Myers right here, or aka the Perfect 78. Quarter scale NECA figure. I got the head sculpt reworked, and I think that it looks amazing. Today's video, man, this is going to be very, very interesting. Trick or Treat Studios blew the lid off of Toy Fair 2020 when they announced 4 Halloween licensed Michael Myers figures that are going to be in 1/6 scale. For years, the 1/6 community has not had a licensed Michael Myers figure really ever. I mean, we got a Sideshow one that was complete trash, and then 3-0 made an attempt at a Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers figure. They did okay, but it left a lot to be desired. Mainly, for years in the 1/6 community, if you wanted a Michael Myers figure, the only option you had was to go custom. You had to get a custom figure done, and usually they come in runs. You can do a kit bash, meaning you get the sculpt from one artist, you get coveralls from another, you find a knife, you get a body, some boots, and you throw the shit all together. And a lot of people take that and they call that a custom figure. Really, that's a kit bash. But today what I want to do is I want to look at what Trick or Treat Studios announced, their 4 figures, and I want to see how they stack up against a custom figure, like a 1/6 scale complete custom figure from a custom artist that makes their living off doing nothing but making custom figures. Now, in order to do that, I think we need to gain a better understanding of the custom community, what it's all about, what it represents, and what goes into it, and the passion, love, and tears and bloodshed too. I think we just need a better understanding, to say the least, of the custom community in order to stack these up against them and see how it compares. Real quick, photo cred, Michael Magnus, shout out to him. There's your photo credit if you're watching. I doubt that you are. Before we get into the custom pieces and the custom work, let's talk about this real quick. So this was revealed at Toy Fair along with 3 other figures. Now, we understand that Tanila Ayers did the coveralls. We understand that Kane Productions and Justin Mabry worked on the head sculpt. They sculpted the heads. Now, these all look amazing, and that's all fine and good, but we have to understand is that these are prototypes, meaning that they make the prototypes, they send it to the factory, and then it is the factory's job to produce a certain amount by a certain date while maintaining a certain quality control. Now, what you have to understand is when you're mass producing an item, attention to detail isn't always going into every single figure that you might see on the prototype, because their objective is to make so many so that they're readily available to the public. They have to work at a certain pace, and when you work at that pace, it's not always easy. It's almost damn near impossible to put the same amount of detail into every single damn figure, and that's very, very important to understand here moving forward. You remember in my interview with Tanila a couple of videos back now, the 1978 Myers that was on display at Toy Fair 2020 was in fact a factory version of the figure that we will be seeing later on in the year that'll be released to the public. Now, I think that they did a good job at duplicating Tanila's work. Studying it a little bit closer, I think there's a little bit left to be desired, meaning I think that the pant legs might be a little too wide. I don't think that the sleeves come down as far, at least for my taste. I'd want them a little bit longer, and then like the stitch work and the trim work on the coveralls themselves may not be as neat as, say, something that comes directly from Tanila, because Tanila, in every set that she does, every pair in that set gets 1,000% of her focus. She's making sure they line up, that the pockets look good, the stitch work looks good, it's tailored to the figure correctly, and that's just not something that is done in a factory. While it is a big factor of producing them, they want to make as many as possible, as quick as possible, to hit their target date, and that is the main focus here. See, when you're working with a custom artist, they put 1,000% into everything, every little detail, piece of clothing, sculpt, paint, whatever that they're working on. For example, let's look at this concept Jason that Once Customs did. The attention to detail in the hockey mask, the sculpt work is phenomenal. All the cracks and crevices have kind of like a reasoning behind them. You can look at this figure and it tells you a story of where this character has been. If you look at all the straps and the tailoring, it makes sense. You know, it gives a reason why. All the rips, everything tattered, the weathering patterns and the blood work, it has strategy behind it. It has effort put into it and love. You can tell, you know. It's not like let's put some dirt here and some blood there and call it a day. Like, he really thought and had a strategy going into this, and it's perfection. It really is. It looks phenomenal. It's not just thrown together. And if you were to send this to a factory to duplicate it, I mean, they'd come out with something, but it wouldn't, without putting attention to detail into every single inch, every thread throughout the whole figure. You're not going to come out with the same product. It's impossible. So just like looking at these coveralls right here, you know, this is a perfect example. Tanila, she outdid herself on these, man. The length of the sleeves are perfect. The cuffs are perfectly symmetrical. The buttons, it's tailored perfectly to the wrist. It doesn't look too big. It doesn't look too small. Same with the pant legs and the cuffs around the boots there. It's perfectly symmetrical. It doesn't look too big. Doesn't look too small. The stitch work is perfectly in line with each other. All the buttons, like on the collar, it looks perfect. And, you know, if you think that the factory is going, that is every single set of coveralls on the figures coming out at Trick or Treat Studios will look like this, you might be disappointed, because they won't. There will be flaws, there will be hiccups, and you might not care about that. You might say, you know, well, I don't care about all that. I just want a Michael Myers figure. I want it to look good enough, and these are good enough, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just important to know the difference between something that's factory produced, you know, mass produced, and something that is custom done by an artist doing a limited run with only so many pairs. You know what I mean? Because she's putting 100% of her attention into every square inch, every little centimeter throughout these coveralls. You know what I mean? And really focusing on attention to detail. So there is going to be a really big difference between the two. Now, I'm not saying that the factory produced coveralls won't look good. I think that they do. From what I've seen so far, I really do think that they look good. But I just think that this is a perfect example of Tanila at her best. And the factory is not going to be able to duplicate that on every single pair, on every figure that comes out. It's just, like I said before, it's impossible, you know, because they're worried about, let's get as many done as quick as possible so that we can hit our target date, you know. That's their focus. Okay, so Lou and Beetle Metalli. Beetle Metalli's Part 3 Jason is far superior than any other Part 3 on the market out there. The tailoring is out of this world by Lou. The sculpt work by Beetle is out of this world as well. Now, listen, his paint applications are just so clean. Even though it's supposed to be like a horror movie, it's supposed to be like rough, rugged, and raw, his work is just so clean. And I can't quite like pin the head on what it is that sets him apart. I think it might be that all of his work is handmade. Every accessory, every pocket, on everything that you see on his figures, down to like the boots, everything is handmade, and that's very, very impressive, especially for how good and how accurate it is to the source material. Now, this is probably the best 1/6 fucking Jason that I think is out there. This final chapter Jason, best head sculpt that I've seen on a 1/6 scale figure. Boom, right here. Now, obviously, that's my own opinion, but this is definitely far superior than any other Jason that's on the market, in my opinion. I feel like his work almost captures the essence of the character. It captures the animation of the character, their characteristics, if you will. This Beetlejuice, it's like the perfect sculpt, you know what I mean? Now, that's only 14 heads, not 1,000. So, obviously, he can put 100% of his focus, dedication, and love into 14 sculpts rather than 900 of them. You know what I mean? He can put 100% focus into each of those. And from the hair root to the paint application to the eyes, he just captured the character of Keaton right here. I mean, it's out of this world, man. Look at it. Now this freaks me out. This is what, Fluffy from Creepshow? Yeah, this guy freaks me out. So this body, I saw a review on this. This body was completely custom made by Beto, so that it'd be fully articulated and to fit in this crate. Now this picture right here freaks the fuck out of me. I'm gonna have nightmares. But again, he nailed the likeness and he captured that character essence of Fluffy. Freddy looks amazing as well. He made a Necronomicon, bro. A 1/6 scale real Necronomicon with real pages, with everything on them, exact to what like. Come on, man. You just don't get that unless it's custom. His Pennywise, look at that. It's creepy. Look. He captures, like, this Bruce Campbell right here, man. I feel the animation of the character. You know, Bruce Campbell's very animated, very charismatic, if you will, and he nailed that 1000%. He's doing a 2018 Myers run of the 2018 Myers from the 2018 movie, obviously. There's some work in progress photos. That's another sculpt, I guess, he's doing where he got shot in the face. Those boots he sculpted boots. His head sculpt is phenomenal. Now, this is something I want to talk about right here, right? So soon, okay, we're going to have the Trick or Treat Studio sculpt come in side by side, and we'll take a look at that real quick. Now, I will say that we don't have the Trick or Treat Studio sculpt in hand yet, and obviously Justin Mabry, Kane Productions, they're no slouch. But what I think that Beto Matali did differently is that, you know, the 2018 mask is supposed to have a lot of features like an old man. That's why you see a lot of the wrinkling that you do, and if you compare it to an older man's face, you'll see a lot of the same features. And I just feel like Beto Matali, in this photo at least right here, definitely captured that. I think that he's got the one up on this sculpt at least compared to the Trick or Treat Studios version. So you guys should know that there are other options out there. If you want higher end collectibles, it doesn't stop with just Trick or Treat Studios, Sideshow, Hot Toys, Enterbay, whoever. Custom artists, you know, they do phenomenal work above the rest, and it's an option for you. You know, if this is what you want to collect, it is out there, and it's definitely an option, and that's something that you should know if you're new getting into this community, that is. All right, guys, so I've saved some of the best work that I've personally seen for last, and this is Rain Man. Rain Man is a custom artist, obviously in the 1/6 custom community, and he's done hit after hit after, like, his work is top notch. It's like, it's top shelf style. Now this guy, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you like everything about Rain Man because I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't have any of his figures, but I have admired from afar. What I can tell you is he was ripped off by Redman Toys. And what you should know is if you see anything from Redman Toys in regards to Bram Stoker's Dracula, Tombstone, Gangs of New York, Bill the Butcher, so on and so forth, from Redman Toys on eBay or in 1/6 groups, it's a direct ripoff of Rain Man Toys. Basically, it's a recast, and he finds somebody to duplicate the clothing, just with cheaper materials, so on and so forth, and then he puts it out at a price point that basically just completely disrespects what Rain Man has been able to establish in the 1/6 custom community, if you will. So if you have, if you have a heart, you can understand how big of a blow that can be for a custom artist, and you definitely want to stay away from Redman Toys. So what you want to do is hit up Stiff Richards, part of 6 Scale Grails. I will link his information in the description below. And Stiff Richards here, he's been collecting for a little over a decade now, I believe. Every single figure he has is super limited. There's not many in the world, and he prides himself in collecting exclusive items that are handmade. And if you want that for your own collection, or you're interested in how to get started within this spectrum of the collecting community, definitely hit him up. Like I said, I'll link all his information in the description below. He can show you on how to get started, what figures you might want to start with depending on your personal interests or likes, and he can also explain to you the difference in quality between like what I'm trying to tell you within this video, between something that's mass produced and something that's custom. And he can also explain to you the difference between artists. You know, you might have a knack or a liking to a certain artist based on your style compared to somebody else. There's so many variables to this. Actually, that's him on screen right there. That's Stiff Richards, and that's with One's Customs Jason figure. I don't know which one that's from. I'm a Michael Myers guy, you know me. So anyways, guys, I will link all that in the description below. Definitely hit up Stiff Richards if you're interested in getting into this side of the collecting community. It's definitely fascinating, and you want to get in on these figures while they're new, while the run is just starting, because once they hit the secondary market, it's like buying a car. Like, these things are super limited. They're handmade. Obviously, you can see from the work on the screen, they're phenomenal. So once they hit that secondary market, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. They explode in value. So definitely get it while it's fresh. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Basically, I was trying to explain to you the difference between what TOTS is putting out and something that was put out from a custom artist that does this for a living, that makes super limited runs and really puts their full effort into every single figure that they produce in that run. If that makes any sense. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it informational. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe out there. God bless. Peace.